Originating from the Greek word for purgation, catharsis is a term famously used by Aristotle in his definition of tragedy in chapter 6 of his Poetics. This term has sparked much debate over the years, with scholars still discussing its precise meaning. The key idea here is Aristotle's statement: tragedy through pity and fear effects a purgation of such emotions. Essentially, a tragedy stirs up intense emotions in the audience, but it also has a therapeutic effect. After experiencing the intense emotional storm and climax, viewers feel a sense of release and calm. Aristotle coined this term, which comes from the Greek word katharein, meaning to cleanse or purge. Nowadays, the word catharsis can refer to any experience of emotional release or cleansing brought about by a work of art. Aristotle believed that an audience's ability to feel the same emotions as those displayed by actors on stage is a crucial part of the theatre experience. He thought that through this shared emotional journey, audiences could learn to better regulate their own emotions in real life. Now, an audience is much more likely to have a cathartic experience if they form a strong attachment to, or identification with, the characters in a play or book. This deep connection heightens the emotional impact and makes the experience more profound. You might have also heard the term catharsis used to describe emotional release outside the realm of art. For instance, people often talk about psychological or social catharsis. A cathartic experience is one where the audience or reader feels the same emotions as the characters on stage or on the page. This means that a cathartic work is any piece of literature that evokes such a powerful emotional response. Imagine a book about a young boy who loses his mother to cancer. This book might not be cathartic for everyone, but for someone who has lost a friend or family member to cancer, it could be an incredibly emotional experience. They might find themselves feeling the character's grief or anger as if it were their own. This example highlights a crucial aspect of what makes literature cathartic. The reader must develop a strong identification with the characters. If readers can't see themselves in the characters, if they don't share any qualities or experiences, then they probably won't achieve the level of emotional investment necessary for a cathartic experience. Creating such a deep connection typically requires a great deal of skill and experience on the part of the author. According to Aristotle, catharsis is an experience that audiences have while watching theatre or reading literature. This means that only audience members and readers can experience catharsis, not the actors or characters themselves. However, sometimes literary characters do have cathartic experiences. For example, in Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, Mr. Ramsay reads a tragic book by Sir Walter Scott. The emotional impact it has on him leads to a greater sense of clarity about his own life and his relationships with other characters in the book. This demonstrates how catharsis can be portrayed within a story, adding depth to both the characters and the reader's experience. Nowadays, cathartic is often used to describe any experience that provides a feeling of emotional release, even though it still retains its original connection to the arts. Just like in literature, this depends on having formed a strong attachment to those objects, similar to how readers must form a bond with characters to experience catharsis in a story. Shakespeare's tragedies are some of the most renowned examples of art that evoke catharsis in audiences. Authors like Chinua Achebe, who wrote Things Fall Apart, have drawn inspiration from classical Greek and Shakespearean tragedy to craft contemporary works that offer cathartic experiences for readers. Typically, these works involve the death or downfall of the main character, though it's not a strict requirement. More generally, plots that create feelings of catharsis usually involve a character losing something very dear to them. This element is crucial in eliciting a deep emotional response from readers. In Othello, an ambitious, resentful, and downright malicious soldier named Iago orchestrates the downfall of his captain, Othello, by making it appear that Othello's wife is cheating on him. Consumed by jealousy, Othello eventually kills his wife. After discovering that she was, in fact, faithful, Othello delivers a poignant monologue in Act 5, Scene 2, just before taking his own life. I pray you, in your letters, when you shall these unlucky deeds relate, speak of me as I am, nothing extenuate, nor set down aught in malice. Then must you speak of one that loved not wisely, but too well, of one not easily jealous, but being wrought, perplexed in the extreme, of one whose hand, like the base Indian, threw a pearl away, richer than all his tribe. Othello's suicide is cathartic for readers for several reasons. Firstly, Othello is the play's protagonist, a good-natured and honest person. So readers naturally identify with him and hope for the best for him. This strong sense of identification makes Othello's decision to take his own life all the more painful, yet readers also experience a strange sense of emotional release. They understand the unbearable agony any good person would feel after killing his own wife. Therefore, Othello is cathartic not only because readers feel Othello's pain, but also because they vicariously experience his sense of release from that pain through his suicide. In Act 5, Scene 3 of Romeo and Juliet, Romeo finds Juliet's sleeping body in the Capulet tomb. Juliet has taken a sleeping potion to make her parents believe she is dead, allowing her to avoid marrying Paris and remain with Romeo, whom she secretly married. Romeo, unaware that Juliet is still alive, poisons himself out of sorrow. From this world-wearied flesh, eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, O you, the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss. A dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct. Come, unsavory guide. Thou desperate pilot, now at once run on. The dashing rocks thy seasick weary bark. Here's to my love, O true apothecary, thy drugs are quick, thus with a kiss I die. Watching Romeo encounter his true love, whom he believes to be dead, may evoke similar experiences of loss for the audience. According to the classical concept of catharsis as outlined by Aristotle, experiencing or re-experiencing the emotional ordeal of a loved one's death through Romeo would have provided the audience with a sense of release. This would allow them to process any lingering feelings of grief in their own lives. Catharsis in literature operates similarly to therapy in real life. By allowing readers to experience intense emotions from a distance, it provides them with an opportunity to let it all out. Cathartic works are particularly effective at tapping into repressed emotions, emotions that readers or audience members might typically suppress. For example, someone might avoid grieving their own feelings of loss because ignoring their pain makes it feel more manageable. However, if they watch a character in a film break into tears at a funeral, they may unexpectedly find themselves moved to tears as well. In this way, experiencing someone else's emotions can sometimes be easier than facing one's own, and catharsis uses this dynamic to help people achieve emotional release. Advocates of dramatic catharsis, as Aristotle defined it, believe that experiencing emotions such as pity or fear in response to artwork can even help individuals better manage these emotions in real life. Some writers, like the German playwright Bertolt Brecht, held a less optimistic view of the benefits of catharsis. Brecht, a 20th-century writer and Marxist, believed that the primary purpose of theatre was to serve as a platform for political ideas and to inspire spectators to take political action. He viewed works that sought to evoke catharsis as mere superficial entertainment for the masses, arguing that spectators lost their ability to think critically and independently when they became too emotionally involved in a play. To counter what he saw as the harmful effects of catharsis, Brecht intentionally wrote plays that did not provide emotional resolution. His aim was for audiences to leave the theatre with unresolved emotions, which would then motivate them to seek emotional release in real life through their own actions.